How often do we say it's just a small lie? We think about lies as small little things, maybe trying to get out of trouble, just trying to protect ourselves, but lies have a bigger impact than we know. The church lists lying as one of the 7 deadly sins. But usually we think about lies as being bad only if they're big, right? If I lie in an important situation, if I lie about a big issue. But lies themselves are a sin that brings death, that brings decay, that brings disillusion to our human life, and brings death and decay into our culture and society itself. So we should try to better understand the effects of lying and see that in some ways there really are no small lies. While there might be a lie that's a mortal sin and a lie that's a venial sin, every lie has a serious impact. First of all, we know that lies spiral and increase. We know this from our childhood. We tell one small lie, and then we have to tell another lie to cover up, and then tell another lie after that to cover that up. That happens all the time with lying. Recently, I was reading on the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court case. And in 1973, there was 2 physicians who gave expert testimony, a Dr. Guttemacher and Dr. Nathanson, gave expert testimony that there's some 1 million women who had died in illegal abortion, trying to make a public health case for safe, quote-unquote, safe abortion for women. You still hear this lie repeated today of people being concerned that if we restrict abortion any way whatsoever, that it will lead to deaths from illegal abortion. Well, Dr. Nathanson eventually had a conversion and repented of his lies, and Dr. Guttemacher later bragged about his lies, that this 1 million women killed by illegal abortions was a made-up number. The number of women who had died by illegal abortions at the time of Roe versus Wade was maybe 300 a year, so a small amount. I mean, now, hopefully no one should ever die from any medical practice, but still not quite the public health crisis that Drs. Guttemacher and Nathanson had originally testified. But that lie still spirals and grows. Just this past fall, a U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein from California, claimed that if we went back on abortions, we'd lead to over 1 million women being killed a year in the United States from illegal abortions. The second thing about lies to remember is that lies are an act of redefining reality. Of course, as Catholic Christians, we believe that reality is something given to us by God, something we've received from God, from the world itself. Even if you're not a Catholic Christian, just from philosophy, you could understand that the world has meaning, the world has substance unto itself. And when an individual lies, they serve to redefine the meaning of the world. They serve to recreate the world in your own image. Now, there's times where creativity is good, but this lying, this denial of reality has an impact on reality itself, and it redefines and weakens our understanding of reality. The author George Orwell, who wrote the dystopian novel 1984 and other dystopias, he understood this from his time working in the news of the British Broadcasting Company during World War II, the BBC. And in his job in the BBC, he had to edit things and change the way things were looked at. And, oh, Russia's our enemy, now Russia's our friend. And George Orwell sought to emphasize this. That's why he included it in his novel, especially 1984. He was also concerned, not as a Christian, he wasn't a Christian, in fact he rejected Christianity in some ways, but he was concerned about it because he thought that this misuse through lying, this denial and reshaping of reality through lying, makes man more susceptible to totalitarianism and authoritarianism. That's his big concern in 1984, that the individual rights of man would be crushed through this culture of lies. And finally, this culture of lies even makes us doubt whether we can really know what reality really is. Well, there's my truth and your truth, we might say. And the more that we multiply lies and use lies and propagate lies and continue lies, the more we get caught into that cycle and that stream of making people wonder if they can really know what reality really is. Maybe you've encountered someone who had someone very devious in their life, maybe someone with a personality disorder or something like that, who lied to them quite often. They never knew what answer they'd get from this friend, this acquaintance, this family member, because in their narcissism and their personality disorder, they're always lying to them. So they didn't even know what was what, just based on this conversation, this friendship. It can be a very difficult thing to go to. The third effect of lying is that it weakens our word of honor. If our word is supposed to be our pledge, if our word is supposed to be our guarantee, well, lies undercut that. Lies make us then doubt any human relationship. The culture of lies affects marriage, right? We know that marriage is based on the word that husband and wife speak to each other, the word that the state respects, the word that the church respects, and that God honors with the graces of a sacrament. The culture of lies, then our word becomes weakened and our honor diminished in that way. How can we depend on someone's word, someone's promise, if we lie and we break them all the time? So what can we do to counteract the culture of lies? What can we do to get more in touch with reality and the certainty and the defense that reality brings against manipulators and authoritarianism and totalitarianism? Well, the first thing we can do is individually pledge to tell the truth. There are no small lies. We want to be people of the truth, not just the small lies to avoid hurting people's feelings or things like that, as if we could know how tough their feelings actually are, but to promise to tell the truth at all times. Also avoid giving into Newspeak, as George Orwell called it, Newspeak, neologisms, to use different phrases to avoid talking about what a thing really is. You know, we talk about someone being pro-choice and making healthcare decisions instead of calling it abortion, instead of calling it the termination of an unplanned pregnancy, death of a baby, death of a life. So avoiding Newspeak in whatever era you might find yourself using it. And final two things, admit your own lies. If you've lied, if you've deceived others, admit them. Embrace the effects of those lies. Yes, those effects might stink. Those effects might bring punishment to your life, but that will heal reality. That'll heal, not reality, that'll heal our culture and heal the world we live in. How often do we long for politicians to own their mistakes? Well, our politicians reflect us in a lot of ways. So we need to own our mistakes. And the second thing to do is repent to God. Confess to God. Use the sacrament of confession. Repent of your lies. Name your lies as we seek to go forward and undo the culture of lies and build up a culture of truth. I'm Father Andrew Dickinson at the Pius XII Catholic Newman Center. God bless you. I love you. Have a great week.